Hi everyone, here we are today. Actually that's a little bit crooked, isn't it? So welcome to our Monday Live. I know I said I was going to try and be at the lighthouse, but it actually was proving to be logistically a bit too difficult. There we go, how's that? Okay, so today we're going to talk about the mindset shift we need to make the pie bigger. So what I mean by that, it's a really interesting concept. So anyway, I'm going to talk a little bit about where I am first. So I am on the easternmost point of Australia, which is, we're at Byron Bay. It's the easternmost point, and I thought we'd actually be up at that beautiful lighthouse, but it actually just proved logistically to be a bit tricky. So hello and welcome. I can see you're there. Let me know where you're listening in from. So when I think about the most eastern point, it's the place that we start each day, and I love the early mornings. You know, I love being in that early part of the day, and I have a very deliberate way that I start my day. I wake before it's light every morning, and I spend that first few moments thinking about how grateful I am to be wherever I am, to be able to breathe, to be alive and to be healthy. And then as I watch the light move across the sky, my bedroom actually faces east, so I'm very, very lucky. And I think about my day ahead, and I think about the wonderful potential. So how do you start your day? Are you an early bird? Are you somebody who likes that early morning, or do you prefer a little slower start to your day? I'm like one of those Meccano toys. You know, I'm on from the moment I wake up, which for other people is not, you know, it's not what everybody likes first thing in the morning. And I know there's some people just like that, like sort of a more luxuriating, slower start to the day. You know, that said, I'm conked out by 9 o'clock at night. So we've been on this relax, recharge road trip, and we spent the day yesterday in the mountains, under the trees, and it was absolutely magnificent. But Byron Bay's always had this really special place for me. We used to come here when it was just a caravan park and a few shops. And of course now there's famous people with $50 million houses and with $30 million houses. And you know, it's this wonderful mix of kind of hippie style people wandering around with no shoes on, and then the rich and famous. But it also was really special to me in the 1980s because we used to come here to look for whales. I was part of Project Jonah, and in those days there was this whole thing about trying to prevent the hunting and the research and that sort of thing. And we never saw any. I can remember sitting up there and looking out at that ocean for days and just being delirious actually, and never seeing a thing. And of course today we know that there's whales up and down the coast. Anyway, thank you, Bridget. You like as slow as it can be in the morning. Oh, thank you for being so honest. It's wonderful to know that not everyone's like me, just as well. Okay, so today's topic is making the pie bigger. The mindset shift that we need for this. So I'd like to give you an example of what happens. So I'm in a number of Facebook groups. Actually, it's scary how many Facebook groups I'm in, but I was in one and I was watching a discussion recently, and it set me thinking about this idea of the pie. And I wasn't going to do that for this live today, but something else happened on Saturday that made me really want to bring it to the group today. Stephen Covey wrote 7 Habits of Highly Effective People in the 80s. And there's this idea of being plenty enough for everyone. So if you think about a pie, and oh my gosh, you know, a beautiful pie. We bought a cherry pie on our way on the first part of the road trip. And when you take a piece, that means there's only this much left. And you take another piece and then there's only this much left. But what Stephen Covey proposed was that there's more than enough pie for everyone. And that's what I'm going to talk a little bit about today. So back to my story about the Facebook group. It's an industry specific group, and it doesn't matter what the industry is because it could apply to any industry. I'm sure the same conversation is happening in other industry specific groups. Somebody wrote something like this: I cannot believe it. I'm running my business right here and someone else has opened a similar business, the same business in the same building. And this person is expressing an enormous amount of outrage and looking for her community's support to endorse their outrage at what had happened to them. Oh, the post continued to say how unfair it was and why would anyone do this, and they had the right to be exclusive because they'd been there for the longest. And when I first read the post, I was just astounded at the amount of anger and outrage that there was in this discussion. And by then, there was already something like 50 comments in this discussion in this Facebook group. WTF, only the real words. How could she? How long have you been there? Oh my gosh, this is just wrong on so many levels. Long detailed comments of support and further outrage, and this whole concept of righteous indignation. And I have to admit, I was truly surprised by it all. And I was going to add my voice as an alternate view, because to me there is an alternate view, and that's what I'm going to talk to everybody about today, which I most definitely would have done in a face-to-face environment. But you know, something happens in these online groups, and I never want this to happen in this group. If we have alternate groups, I want us to be able to express that. But I just didn't feel safe expressing an alternate view. And that's a topic for another livener. But back to my example. So as a business person, me, as a business observer, I read this post with particular interest, and I have to admit, very curious around this entitlement and how that comes to be. The premise is positivity only. Thank you, Mark, there. The premise of the post is that because this one business was there, in that location, no other similar business should be allowed to be anywhere nearby. And there's so many aspects to this, but I'm going to talk about two today in particular. So I was especially inspired, as I said, something happened on Saturday. So we saw one cafe, two cafes, three cafes bulging at the seams with queues of people waiting outside, 4 cafes. And they're all busy, and they all had people waiting outside. And when I think about that, that happens all the time. And in fact, in this particular area where this example is, I happen to know where it is, and there's, you know, probably at least 10 cafes in that area. So maybe that happens as well where you are. Maybe there's a whole lot of similar businesses quite close together. And we see it, you know, 2 or 3 Thai restaurants in the same area. Maybe, you know, and I often talk about the example when I walk from my train station to my home, there's something like 20 hairdressers and barbers, and it's literally a 12-minute walk. So, you know, there's all of these businesses thrive together because, you know, it's the way they bring people into the area. And we saw it happen over the last 5 years with the second-hand clothing businesses. Some of them are retro, some of them are hillbilly, some of them are more of a recycled thrift shop type of thing. And they've all come to the same area because people go from one to the other to the other. And in fact, so what they've done is they've used their similarity to build their businesses rather than seeing it as competition. So that's the first point I want us to take away from today. That sometimes when we see similar businesses coming together, maybe it can actually help our business rather than being seen as being a pure competition and therefore a bad thing. In my own industry, from coaching point of view, you know, every time I go onto LinkedIn or Facebook, there's, you know, dozens of new business coaches. Oh, I'm a hairdresser and I've been running my business and now I'm a business coach. I'm a plumber and I've been running a plumbing business and now I'm a business coach. And, you know, life coaching boomed in the 2000s. Business coaching is now doing the same, and social media just makes it so much easier. There's so little barrier to entry for people. They can just set themselves up. And you know what? I absolutely welcome it. If that hairdresser has got enormous skills for being a hairdresser and they can share that to other hairdressers so that they can build better businesses, I applaud that. I absolutely applaud that, because we want businesses to be healthy. We want people to be able to understand what it takes to be in business. So I think if the plumber can become a business coach as well, bring that on. And I think the more we can have education to get people started in business, that we can help people understand how to pay themselves. So, you know, so from my perspective, I just say, if you're a business coach and you've got expertise, then come along, because I'm not the person for everybody. You know, you're here because you like the way I present things, you understand how I talk, you like my examples. But there are people who aren't in this group, and you know, there's 8 billion people on the planet. I love going back to that. Okay, so let's go back to my recent example. So this one business operates all alone in this environment, and a newcomer comes along. So the question I would ask this business person if I was talking to them, and I happen to know the area in Sydney, and as I said, it's quite a busy inner city suburb. So here's the questions. Can that one business serve every person in that area? That's highly unlikely. Is every person in that area the ideal client for that business? Again, highly unlikely. Does having more than one business offering a similar service increase the profile of that industry? I say yes, absolutely. what if instead of seeing it as competition, it was viewed as collaborative? And I say this to my clients all the time. You know, how do we see as being collaborative? Who are the other businesses that we can align with so that we can actually grow our business from that point of view? There are so many clients out there. As I said, there's 8 billion people on the planet. So my philosophy is that there is a large enough pie, so large enough for everybody to have a share. There are so many people in your environment, no matter what it is that you do. And, you know, how is this resonating with you as you're listening to this? How do you feel about what I'm saying? Does this make sense to you? Do you feel like this is something that you agree with? Am I talking road trip delusion because I've been out in the heat for so long? But I truly think that it's, you know, it's another way of looking at it. And, you know, I interviewed... oh gosh, what's his name? I just can't think of his name. He was a chiropractor, and he described how he felt about chiropractic. And he said he wanted people to be committed to chiropractic first, and then he wanted people to be committed to his business second, and then he wanted people to be committed to him third. And I think if we take that into any industry, the whole industry benefits. And so from us as a business, there's more than enough for us. Absolutely collaboration. Thank you so much, Bridget. And, you know, so if we raise the profile of our whole industry, so whether it's dentistry or whether it's virtual assistants or whether it's hairdressers, if we say as dentists, and I'll do that because I love working with the dental clients that I have. So if we say dentistry is really important to people and we educate the public about how important it is to take care of their teeth, to take care of their overall health, the role that dentistry plays in our lives, then we say, that's what dentistry is. We want you to be committed to dentistry. And by the way, here's our business and here's who we take care of. And you know what? If we're not the dentist for you, here's another dentist. Here's another dentist. These might be the people that are the best for you. And then when you come to our practice, we've got these people in the practice who are the ones who will be able to take care of you. So we have this overall approach to dentistry. We have this overall approach to hairdressing. We have this overall approach to, you know, so we teach people how to look after their hair. We say looking after your hair is fantastic. But, you know, I go to a hairdresser that's particularly good for curly hair. So the hairdresser that's really good for blonde, that's no good for me because I'm not blonde. So, you know, what is the speciality inside your business? So I believe that this example from the Facebook group just really triggers for me this idea that we can build an industry and we can build the profile of an industry in the mind of the public, which then helps, or the customers or the potential clients or whatever you want to call that. So I've got somebody else there. Bring them on camera. Oh, Grace is watching. Hello, Grace. Nice to see you there. Thank you so much for joining. So, you know, we're just talking about the fact that there's more than enough clients for everybody in our industry. So the takeaway that I'd love you to have today is there's more than enough clients. We build our industry. And if there is competition that bothers you, like if you feel like somebody is a little too close or stop looking, get in your lane. Keep your eyes on the prize, keep your eyes focused on giving the best value you can to the clients that you have, and just do what you do really well. And talk about your industry and build that industry for it. So whether you're a virtual assistant or whether you are a copywriter, you know, I see copywriting people collaborating together and saying how important it is to have good copywriting. So really, let's take this, yes, we need to niche and focus, absolutely narrow that focus so that the clients you have are your clients, but the industry as a whole is benefiting. So that's my live for today. Thank you so much for being here. I would love it if, as you're listening to this, there's anybody else that you think needs to be in this group or somebody that's in the group that you think needs to see this video. Please tag them. Please set your timer to come back here at 12 noon next Monday. Or if you're in New Zealand, it's, I think, 3 p.m. or 2 p.m. in the afternoon. If you're in Queensland, it's 11 a.m. in the morning. I think it's 2 a.m. in the morning if you're in London. So wherever you are in the world, set your timer. I'm here every Monday. I am absolutely committed to being here and bringing you this information every Monday. If you miss this will be tagged as being an announcement. It'll be the top of the units. It'll go into its own unit, and I am so pleased to have you here. If anybody has any questions, I actually can see the chat today. Sometimes the chat disappears on me, but if you have any questions about this, if you want to know how do you help your industry by promoting your industry and by having, just really taking care. 2 p.m. New Zealand time. Thanks, Bridget. I wasn't sure if you guys were 2 hours or 3 hours. So, there's New Zealand. Sorry, I'm just going to digress for a moment because there is Jacinda Ardern raising the level of politicians around the world. So, we've got prime ministers all over the world saying, I want to be more like her. And so this is exactly what I'm talking about. New Zealand has, with a landslide, re-voted Jacinda Ardern into being the prime minister. And around the world, people are saying, that's the sort of prime minister I want to be. And so, this is what we can do in our industries. Be the best that we can be. Be that 1%. If you haven't watched those videos, they're back there in the unit for the 1%. So thank you so much for being here today. I'm going to wrap this up. Thank you. Oh, actually, there's a behind the scenes photo that you guys are just not going to believe. I'm going to post that for you because I couldn't get to the lighthouse, but I had to set up in here. Anyway, it's quite a nice background. So be the best in your own way. Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here, and I shall see you next week at 12 noon, if not before.